one time, like 2 years ago, I was on campus at school. I didn't even go to school. Like I was just there hanging out with the homie. And we had gone to the gym, and then after the gym, it was like probably 9, 10 in the morning, went to campus, sat down, and then started meditating. Then I started doing my vocab words. I had a fucking flashcard deck full of words so I could learn and get better. And then I read like 2 chapters of a book, and then I meditated again, and then I had more words, and then I prayed, and I had all this stuff going on. And I took notes, and I was like doing this thing. And then finally 3 hours had gone by, and my buddy was like, yo, I'm about to leave campus. And so I left with him. The moral of the story is from 5 a.m. to 10, 11, no, it was more like 12 p.m. I didn't do shit. And it was because I had to do my meditation, and I had to get my, fucking morning routine in. And then let's flash back even 6 months before that. I used to sit there every day watching self-improvement videos, and I got to go to the gym. And then I kept telling myself that one day, after I go to the gym enough times, after I watch enough videos, and after I do enough work, then I'll finally become an entrepreneur. And I fucking failed for a long ass time. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Steven. I make this channel for business owners and like-minded entrepreneurs to grow their brand, to grow themselves, to help themselves and do great things in this world. And so let's get to it. And another thing too, this video, not a lot of edits. And the reason why is because it helps you reward your brain with dopamine. And so if you need that, go watch TikTok. But successful business owners, pay attention to important shit. Hopefully this will help you out. By the end of this video, you will also have 2 tangible ways to actually fix this problem where you're kind of stuck in this like entrepreneur phase where you're not actually doing the work involved. You're just kind of like going through the motion. So that's kind of what we're doing today. So first thing I want to go over is that self-improvement is great. Self-improvement is great, but it is the formula to greatness. Okay, and let's look at this, right? So if you have your morning routine, and then you go gym, and then you go to work, and then you eat dinner and go to sleep, right? This is a productive day. And see, what self-improvement we're looking for here is productivity, right? Self-improvement is the easy way to get rid of your bad proclivities, right? So if you start doing your morning routine, then you don't you'll stop eating chips and watching TikTok in the morning. And same thing goes with the gym, right? If you go to the gym and start eating healthier, and then in turn your body will feel better, so you'll be more productive. And then you go to work, and because like 9 times, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're trying to start a business, odds are you probably have a job, right? And then you eat healthy and you go to sleep. And this is kind of how you spend all your days. Or at work, you can trade that out for school. Okay, like you're pushing out the bullshit to get the important stuff done. In order to do that, you have to have a purpose. I'll say it every single time. If you don't have a thing that you look at every single day, you stare at it and say, this is what I do, this is the purpose, this is who I'm supposed to be, which my new purpose that I've changed for the first time in a year and a half is to build the greatest fucking marketing company of all time. And so that's my purpose. And so that's why I do things like this, right? And maybe you take out, maybe you eat, and then right before bed you read, right? And you're taking out the bullshit. And that's why self-improvement is so good, because it helps you get rid of the bullshit in your life, because now you no longer want to drink or smoke and jerk off. You got other shit to do. You're busy. You've made your time important, which is great, but that doesn't help you build your business, right? Like if you replace this with, well, this work is a 9 to 5, maybe, or you're a student, right? And if you do that, you're not working on the business. Nowhere in here has there been any work done on the business. And so this is the problem. It's like you let this morning routine and this long ass gym session where you have to get all your fucking gym shit done take up your day, and then work too, that you're not focusing on what's important. Because if you really fucking cared, you'd quit your job at that wherever the fuck you're working and do the thing that's important, right? Because I promise you this. I know this from experience. If you need money, you're going to do anything you can to get that. If you're fucking starving, you're going to need food, and that is money, right? So if you quit your job and you need to pay rent, oh, best believe you're going to make those fucking cold calls. You're going to go reach out to those customers that you haven't been reaching out to. That guy that said, I got to think about it, give me 6 months, and it's been 5 months. You're going to reach out to those people, right? But if you spend all your time bullshitting and you're at work and you're at the gym for 4 hours, which is literally what I used to do. I used to wake up and then I would go to the gym and I would hit a lift. Then I would hit cardio. Then I would go hit the punching bag. And then I would do abs. And then I'd sit in the sauna for 30 minutes. And I'd be there for 4 fucking hours. And I'd have a conversation with somebody else too. I'd literally be at the gym for 4 hours every single day. And I was like, man, I wonder why my business isn't growing. But I wanted to be with this self-improvement crap, right? Which is great. Self-improvement's great. This title was a little bit clickbait, but it might be the thing that's holding you back. And so let's look at the formula that you need in order to become awesome, right? And that is outputs over units of time, right? This self-improvement helps you make the formula. As you can see right here, these are all outputs and they're productive outputs, right? So you can put that in here in this part of the equation. Units of time, all this day, this 18-hour span, units of time. And this equals something like better. But you're not trying to be better because you're already better. Probably you've probably been going to the gym for like 2 years. You're not trying to be better. You're trying to make money. Okay. And so the thing is, the problem with self-improvement is that your outputs are productivity, but they're not money-making actions. They're making yourself better actions, which is great, but also, which is very important here. I think this is my next little section in notes, is that your goal as an entrepreneur is to become better. There's some reason, psychological conditioning, that made you an entrepreneur, right? Like there's a lot of young guys out there, and I'll put myself in this boat, that at some point their life was at shit and they were scrolling through TikTok way too much, and they ran into a lot of Andrew Tate, Alex Hormozy, Jordan Peterson clips, Hamza clips, and they were like, you know what? I'm going to make myself better. I want to start a business. I want to live this lifestyle, right? And then what happens from there is you start going onto YouTube, and now you've watched 50 Iman Ghazi videos. Or, if you're a contractor, there's other things that you learn too. You decided to go out and learn things that are very important, or a marketing agency. You run an agency or you do dropshipping. There's something that you did to get you here. And odds are you were probably in a shitty position. And that's why you started the business. Because people are more likely to run away from a loss than to move towards something valuable. So like, here's the loss and here's the win or the one. And people are more likely to move away from this because this sucks right here. This sucks. When I started my business, my life was shit. Okay. I hated myself and I wanted to get away from that. So I was actually trying to get more this way because I didn't like this. I did not like this. That's what happened. This is no good. And so a lot of times I've noticed, maybe this is just a blanket term, but I've noticed there's some form of trauma. Actually, you know what? No. I want to put my foot down on this. There's some form of trauma, even if you haven't realized it, that was in your life. Maybe it wasn't the most traumatic experience, but there's something that made you start a business, because this shit is unorthodox. Okay. And everyone thinks you're delusional. You have all these sleepless nights and you're I've been up for 4 hours now working on this shit. And I'm going to do this every single day because I fucking love it. But because I was so down in the fucking dirt, my face was so down in the dirt here that I never wanted to be that person again. And so I went this way. And that's what happens. That's where we are today. So with that being said, I guess I don't have to erase this. Here's the loss. Here's the one. The business is a boat that gets you from one side to the other. There's the paddle. And yes, your business is the boat. The business is the vehicle, right? To get you from one side to the other. The gym is fucking great, but it doesn't make you confident around women. If that's one of your problems, that might be something that's fucking deep down inside of you. Okay, the business is going to help you with that, because you cannot call yourself an unconfident person if you've confidently closed 150 sales, you've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. I guarantee you at that point, you will not struggle with talking to women. Same thing goes with sales, right? The more you move forward, the more sales calls you take, the less likely you are to not be confident. And that might be one of your problems. You're trying to develop character traits, and the character traits come with the business. And in order to get these character traits, you have to do the outputs per unit of time. You see this row right here? This row is what's propelling the business forward. And that is this formula, outputs per unit of time, right? So your outputs are rowing the thing, and you need to have more leverage, right? Like in my situation, I have a lot of leverage because I have a lot of employees. And so what they do is they move the business forward without me having to do as much, right? I still have to row the boat with them. I still have to be leading the pack, right? But I can still have them rowing. We're still moving just as fast, if not faster, with contractors working for me, right? With employees, right? The same thing goes here. That's what this is. I want you to understand that your outputs per unit of time is what is going to make you more money, right? Not your fucking morning routine. It's this. If you're starting out and you don't have a morning routine, it might be a good idea, because the thing is, you are trying to understand this formula. You're trying to adopt this formula into your life. And so if you haven't started your business and you're still fucking playing video games every day and jerking off, you need to start developing steps in your day over and over and having repetitive days. And then at some point you're going to say, well, this repetitive shit sucks. So, yeah. Well, that's how the business works, because I've been doing this for 2 years and I'm probably going to do it for another 5 until I at least feel genuinely successful. And so that's what happens. That's how this works. So yeah, still go gym, but do this shit. And the biggest thing I want to touch on is this. Here's the most important part. There's somebody out there, right, that's just as much of a dickhead, just as arrogant, had a traumatic experience that was relatively similar to yours, that had a shitty childhood, that still plays video games, or that played video games, that's just like you, someone who is just like you. Except that person has taken more steps than you. That person's read 50 more books. That person's done 150,000 more push-ups. That person has made 150,000 more dollars. And that guy's going to continue to beat you and take your marketplace. Every single day that you don't spend going out into the marketplace and finding potential buyers is another day that your enemy, or I guess you can call it an enemy, but your competition is going to go do that. And that doesn't just apply in business, it applies in life, right? Not just your business, but in life too. Imagine this. Imagine there's a girl that you find interesting and that you want to talk to. But there's another guy who's better than you, who's stronger than you, who's more capable than you. who do you think she's going to pick? And so this is why you need to work hard, because if you don't work hard, you will lose the girl, you will lose the car, you will lose the market. And that's why we're working so hard to build something big, because you're trying to build an empire, and you cannot build an empire sitting on your ass, playing video games and jerking off. It just doesn't work. It doesn't. And so that's why you increase your units of time, or your outputs per unit of time, because there is someone in front of you. There is someone who's next to you, who's going to surpass you and take your opportunity, take your space in the market. And so this is why we work hard now. Because here's the thing, I wanted to start a dropshipping company back in the day, but I didn't. And now I'm at this point where if I start a dropshipping company, there's so much competition, it's going to be harder for me to start. When I started this marketing agency, when I started originally doing SaaS, there was only 20,000 people doing it. And now there's like 120,000 people doing it. And so I hopped in the marketplace early, so I understand, and I can fuck everyone else in the market. Like if you're a marketing agency, if you're starting a marketing agency, and in the last 6 months, I'm ahead of you, and I'm going to fucking beat you every time. And I'm serious. The only way you're going to beat me is if you sit down and you do the fucking work required over and over every single day. Because I spent the last 4 hours staring at my computer screen. It's 8 in the morning. You have to wake up in the morning and do your morning routine and drink your coffee and do your grounded meditation and all that shit. And then there's other people out there that don't have to do that same shit to be successful. Because I get up and like immediately right out of bed, I get to work. Because it's better for you because your brain's like already in flow state. But you don't want to do that. You gotta do your bullshit. So that's cool. Go ahead and do that. But you will get beaten by me and by other people that are like me, if not better. We are always going to beat you. Christmas, New Year's, birthdays, special occasions. And actually, this is a little side thing. There's always going to be a special event. There's always going to be some stupid fucking reason as to why you need to go out, why you need to go do stupid shit. And so while you're going out and doing dumb shit, I'm not going to be doing that. Other people aren't going to be doing that. So get to work. Lastly, I want to leave you with two steps, two things that can help you fix your problem, right? The first one, well, actually, they're honestly both really good. I really like both of them. But let's go ahead and talk about it. The first one is the when-then fallacy. The when-then fallacy is when I get more time, then I will become successful. When I get more money, then I will start my business. When I have no job, then I will start my business, right? Here's the problem with the when-then fallacy is you are trying to get the when before the then, but the then is the thing that gets you the when. So here's my example, right? When I am healthy, this is just to explain how stupid this is. When I am healthy, then I will go to the doctor. And as you can see, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Because you don't get healthy and then go to the doctor. You go to the doctor and then you get better, right? And that's what this fallacy is, right? When I have more time, then I will start my business. Don't you think that if you started your business, then you would have more time to work on the business? Don't you think that if you started your business, you could make more money and then you have the money, right? But like if you flip it the other way, that's kind of basically what you're saying. When I have more money, I'll start my business. Don't you think the business will make you more money? Exactly. This is a fallacy. This is a logical fallacy. When I am this, then I will be that. However, 9 times out of 10, you need the then to do the when. And so in order to do the then, you have to start today. And that brings me to number 2. And this is something that I tell myself all the time. Before you take any rash fucking decisions, let me please explain what I'm talking about when I say kill yourself, right? And I don't mean this in like a physically harm yourself. I mean this in a kill the current version of yourself, become the future version, right? So I've said this before in other videos, but I'll say it again. Here is you, and this is who you are today. And you have the character traits that don't align with the person you want to be. Because if you wanted to become a millionaire and you had the character traits to become one, you'd already fucking be one. And this is where you want to be, right? And I'll give you a cane and a top hat because this is bougie you, right? I'm guessing is maybe you want to, or just entrepreneur you, but I'm going to write bougie, right? And this is regular you, right? And then there's this gap here. And in between this gap is fire. That's my fire. Look at how shitty that fucking fire looks. So a lot of times what we try to do is think the when-then fallacy is going to save us. And so our minds come up with this idea that we can build a bridge to the other side. And that bridge is what I like to call the bullshit bridge. And what do I mean by the bullshit bridge? It's this fake way that you can tell yourself that like when you do when you do something, this is the when-then fallacy. This is resistance. It is you resisting the fact that you have to jump in the fire. Because the only way to actually succeed is to jump into the fire and come out on the other side victoriously. But you try to build this bridge and say, well, when I have more time, then I'll be rich. Or make a company or whatever it is you're trying to do. Right? So, when I have more time, resistance. That's resistance. Okay, that's resistance cutting in. Okay? And so what happens is, I learned this from Charlie Morgan, who's a really, really big entrepreneur. and I absolutely love this video. I've watched it like 7 times. It's called Trial by Fire, and I've talked about it many times on this channel. Is that the only way to get to the other side is to go through the fire. And this character right here, this is the hero, right? The bougie you, this is the hero. This is the knight. This is the one that goes in and saves the princess, right? That's the hero of the story. And this right here, the version of you now, is the villain. What's one thing that you have to understand is that the story isn't epic unless there's a villain, right? If I were to play Bobby Fischer, one of the greatest chess players of all time, back in the day when he was a grandmaster, and I was to play him in a tournament, nobody would watch that shit because he would tear my ass apart. But since he was playing the fucking Russian mafia, or not, what is it, the Russian, there was one on TV. There was like a chess tournament on TV. He was playing like the Russian chess players, and this was back during the Cold War. And so it was literally on like live, like evening news TV, him playing these games. And he smoked all of them because the villain was so big, because the enemy was so powerful, right? So be thankful for the current version of yourself, because if it's not for the current version of yourself, you cannot do the things to become the future version of yourself, right? If you could press a button and have a 6-pack, it's not valuable, because then everyone would have 6-packs. But since it takes effort and it takes the trial by fire to get that 6-pack, then it's more valuable. And so more people are like, that's sick. But if Lamborghinis were $3, nobody would want them. That's how value works. The villain is going to scratch and fight and do everything it can to prevent you from making it to the other side. And that is by coming up with some bullshit way that you were going to get over there without actually doing the hard shit. Because the hard shit is the cold calling and the sleepless nights and the talking to people that tell you to go fuck yourself. That's the trial by fire. If you're a marketing agency owner, I made thousands of cold calls before I closed my first sales. I had hundreds of sales pitches before I closed my first sale. And the same thing goes here. You have to cross this fucking bridge. You have to. Or you have to go into the fire and come out on the other side victoriously. But again, your brain comes up with this thing, if I just do a little bit more research, I'll be ready to go. And that's resistance. That's the villain trying to come up with reasons as to why you can become better without actually doing the hard shit. If I just do this, then this will happen. When? Then. That's the problem here. So, you want to fix this shit? Every single time you feel resistance, every single time you feel like you need to do more research, right now is not a good time, you're entitled to taking a break. Procrastination. I have a fucking big ass list of this shit. Every time you feel that kicking in is exactly when you just need to dive headfirst into the fucking fire. Because one day you'll come out on the other side and be the hero. And guess what happens? The more you get closer to becoming this hero, the more you get closer to the other side, this villain is going to kick up even more. What happens when you back a dog into a corner? He's going to fucking bite and scream and do everything he can to live. Because your body, you're intrinsically designed to survive. And since there isn't fucking saber-toothed tigers out in the road, an enemy tribe trying to breach into your camp, the only thing obviously you can die, but you're more likely to lose the character that you are now than to die, hopefully. So, with that being said, whenever you're going to fight and kill the current version of yourself, it's going to kick up a fucking fight and scream and do everything it can to prevent you from becoming better. So whenever you say this when then fallacy shit, remember this. Remember this right here. Because if you don't, you're going to get fucking destroyed by everyone else. And so I hope this helped you out. If you are a contractor and you're looking to get extra jobs and you like this kind of shit, this is literally what I want to talk to you about. Click the link below, book an appointment with me, and let's talk about getting you through that trial by fire. So have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video, and stop coming on social media, because it's literally the fucking bullshit bridge, and that shit eats you alive.